everyone, and welcome to Block TV. I am your host, Kristi Cruise, and we are here today with Coffee Talk with one of our Block sponsors, Lia Moore from Pruitt Keener. Lia, thanks for joining us today. How you doing?
Hi, thank you, Christy. I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, it's a beautiful day out. I'm happy to
Beautiful.
finally get to talk to you guys. I know
Yeah.
that it's been a while, actually, that we've been trying to put this together. So, yay, we're finally here. We're finally doing it.
I know, I'm excited. This is going to be so fun. I can't wait.
Okay, so you were pretty new to Pruitt Keener. Tell us about that journey that you've had with insurance and with the company as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess I'll start with just insurance and the beginning. So, I actually knew for a while that I wanted to get into the industry. I went ahead and got my licenses in my freshman year of college. I got my property casualty and my life and health. And really, what sparked my interest in it was a conversation I had with my dad. Like every high schooler looking to figure out what they want to do moving to college, I wasn't entirely sure then. And then after I had a conversation with my dad, he was like, if I had to do it all over again, insurance is something I would consider. So I was like, okay, yeah, like I'll consider that. And I got connected with some representatives at Erie Insurance, and that's one of the carriers that Pruitt Keener has. And so I interned with them my freshman and sophomore summers with an agency where I went to school at Ohio University, in the Plains right outside of our campus. O'Neill Hartman was an agency I interned with. And then junior year summer, fast forward, I knew I didn't want to be in West Virginia or Ohio forever. And I always really liked Charlotte. So I was like, this would be a great opportunity. And then I got connected with Joe at Pruitt Keener. And, they're in Charlotte, obviously, and represent Erie amongst multiple different other carriers. And yeah, so then after getting connected with him, we had a few Zoom calls and, our values and everything aligned. And yeah, so then I started interning with them my junior year summer, fell in love with Charlotte in general, and, had a great time with the agency. So then everything just kind of, snowballed from there and it really worked out. Went back to college at Ohio University for my senior year and then came back full time as a producer for them right after that.
Oh, that's awesome. And that's great to get hired right out of college too, because that could be a really tricky thing for people.
Yeah, I know the job market and everything, like for a lot of people that when I was a senior in college, like it was a big, oh, where am I going to work? What am I going to do? But it was really great to have had that internship with them. And, I think it's a big thing today, just finding out, where you want to work and really enjoying the people you work with. And that's one thing that I left the internship knowing that I really enjoyed everybody in the office when I'd come in. I would never leave. Yeah, I don't know. I would never leave feeling any sort of way besides, I love the people that I'm around. So,
That's important because you spend
yeah,
a third of your life at work, right? You got to love your job and love your coworkers. Uh,
right. Absolutely.
yeah. So I think we get a lot of people from Ohio that move to Charlotte. I actually, before I moved to Charlotte, worked in Ohio. I worked in Cincinnati
Wait,
though.
really?
Yeah. So I was a news reporter at WLWT, the NBC affiliate in Cincinnati. And by the way, I love Cincinnati. I
Yeah.
didn't think I was going to love it so much. It's a really cool place.
Cincinnati is really cool. Have you ever been to Columbus, Ohio, too?
I have. I have family that live there.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. I feel like there are some, big cities in Ohio that are honestly really nice. I've been to Cincinnati a few times and Columbus a bunch since it was pretty close to Athens, and I really liked it there too.
But I agree, Charlotte's better. So we're driving.
A
Yeah.
little bit more south, a little bit warmer. I was like, you can't say no to this weather. You really can't.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So tell me why Joe did not want to join us today, because I know I gave you the option of having like all three of us on. What happened there? What's tell us the real story.
The real story, I don't know. Joe's a busy guy, and honestly, I think he was just like, Leah, you got this one. Don't worry, you got it. And so I'm like, okay, I'll take this one for us, Joe. But no, honestly, I don't know. Maybe he was just thought it was a one-on-one, or I don't know. But nothing too crazy behind that story,
That is
unfortunately.
fine. You just tell him that he was missed and maybe next time. Maybe next
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
maybe next time.
About the insurance industry, Joe Keener with Pruitt Keener.
Uh-huh.
I just learned recently that Pruitt Keener actually has a Pruitt. I think people in Block, which, I'm obviously in, you're obviously in, we just see Joe so much. He really does, put in the FaceTime. And so I don't know, maybe I thought that was his middle name or something, but there is a Pruitt and Pruitt is alive and well. So tell us about that partnership and how it got started.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Pruitt Keener's been around for 25 years. Our 25-year anniversary was actually recently. And Drew Pruitt, he started Pruitt Keener Insurance, and then Joe got involved. They ended up having their partnership, and then Joe came on and is an owner now too. But yeah, it got started 25 years ago, is still family owned. And yeah, I think Joe, when it came to Block, you have to ask him, but I know that that was just kind of his organization where he was going to and networking. So that's probably why you only saw more of Joe and not of Drew. But yeah, Drew started it, and then they ended up having a great partnership themselves, and realized that, it made sense for them to partnership. So yeah, that's then Pruitt Keener.
Yeah. And I know you guys have about 10 employees total. Do you guys go into the office? Or are you a hybrid or how does it work?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have a majority of us are in the office. We have a service side and a sales side at our office, which is great because all of the books and of our business, it's serviced in-house. And, anytime clients call, if they're calling Pruitt Keener, one of our service staffs is going to answer the phone. And it's really awesome because, you're always talking to one of the same few people that know you and know your business. But yeah, in office, there is about, let's see, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, about like eight of us in office every day, mainly. Joe included comes into the office like every day. And then we also have a few people working outside of the office too. So yeah, but I'd say majority of us are in office every day. With the sales side, it does depend really on, what we have going on, whether that's networking, client meetings, just anything. Sometimes we are out of the office as well, also just doing, one-to-ones. But yeah, I mean, majority I'm in office every day, as a lot of us who work there are too.
Where's your office located?
Yeah, so it's in Ballantyne. So it's right off Ray Road in the Blakeney area.
Okay. But does
Yeah.
Joe live north or am I confusing him with another block member?
Oh, no, Joe doesn't. So I'm in the North chapter, and I think a lot of times people think that Joe lives that way, but no, that's just kind of the chapter that he was in that I'm in now. But yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. For some reason, I thought he lived up in You know what? I think I'm confusing him with Jeremiah. Okay.
Oh, probably.
Yeah. Okay. I think Jeremiah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So
but what about you? How long have you been in Block for?
Okay, so technically just a couple of years, but I've really been hanging around since 2012. With my previous company, Block did the initial golf tournament, which kicked off that company. It's now one of the largest, most efficient nonprofits in Charlotte. And Block was the first one that came along and did something for us, believed in us, gave us a big check. And that $10,000 check, like, very quickly grew into $1 million. And
Wow.
now they have a budget of about that every single year, including in kind. And so with that going so well, I was able to step back in 2019 to do some other things. So that organization collects books that kids have outgrown and then gives them to children living in Charlotte's book deserts because
Wow.
parents who can't afford food and shelter certainly can't go out and spend their time or energy on children's books or taking them to the library. And so that really fills that need. They do about 30,000 books a month. It's a big operation. And
Wow,
so
that's awesome.
now, yeah, I know it's really great. And now I'm in charge of two other big issues that I really identified from running that corporation for 10 years. One is that children say they do not like to read. Well, we have to fix that. So at Living Libraries, my company, we have kinesthetic multisensory resources that make reading as exciting as watching a screen. And what happens in the brain mirrors those neurotropic chemicals that screen watching does. And so we're able to basically get them hooked on books, which is the best thing to get hooked on. And then the other thing that I'm running, at least right now, is an organization called Books with Color, which is a representative authors alliance so that children can see books and book characters and meet authors that look like them. There's a huge representation gap in children's books for a number of reasons. And we want to help close that that gap. So we work with local authors of all different backgrounds. I have children's books. I have 13 of them, and all of them feature, but one feature bilingual text, and they all feature children of color. CMS is a very, very diverse school district. And so we want them to, when they pick out books, to be able to pick characters that they identify with. So I've been in the early literacy game for about 13, 15 years now. I know. Um,
Wow.
I look probably younger than I am. That's a good thing, right?
Absolutely, you do. And that's a great thing. Yes. I love that though. That's so special.
Yeah, so I love my work a lot. And then to answer your question, I came back on the block a couple years ago just because Block is the single organization that has done so much for the nonprofits that I have had the pleasure of building and running. And I just thought it was time for me to give back. And so this is one of the ways that I'm giving back using my broadcasting skills. I'm a professionally trained broadcaster. And I did that as my first career before I even went into nonprofit. And I transferred over to nonprofit once I started, having a family, because it can be really hard to manage a TV news job when you have a husband that travels all the time. And so it was a hard decision, but a good decision. But when I get to do stuff like this, then it just all the skills come back, and then I feel like I haven't lost a thing. Um, Getting to
I love that.
yeah. Yeah.
My
It's really fun. And we really want to do more of these because there's so many cool people in Block, and what a great
absolutely.
opportunity for us to get to know them and their businesses and what they do. And
Yeah.
Joe has been such a great supporter of Block. I think he was the CIC chair the year that Living Libraries got that huge $35,000 check, which is only, gosh, it was less than 3 years ago because my son is only three and a half. And
Wow.
I know for sure, like he was at the check presentation. But that's what I think so many people love about Block, and
Right.
love to hear what you guys love about Block too. But
Yeah.
me coming from the nonprofit side, like they don't just say they're going to give back, they actually give back. And when they do it, it makes a huge difference. It's not just for them to feel better because they gave a little check to someone. Like it's a massive
Right.
impactful amount for a small organization.
Yeah, no, I like had the pleasure of on the most recent one when we were voting for what charity, I got to go to that and I that opened my eyes so much to number one, just being able to see the different charities that are here local in Charlotte that I wasn't aware of, just being newer to the area. And also, again, I got to see the impact for myself just for the first tournament, I was here when they did the most recent block and bowl, and now with the golf tournament coming up, for the Greater Enrichment Program as the beneficiary, that's going to be so exciting to see as well because I got to see the block and bowl, and now I know that there's a golf tournament too. And I agree. I think just watching, I don't know, I think just watching Dove House like take that check, and I'm sure they're going to do such great things with it. It's just very meaningful being on the side where you're giving, you're helping people come to the events and whatever it is, I think that, there's a lot of different networking groups in Charlotte, but I agree. I think this one has stood out so much to me personally with how much they do give back.
I agree. Yeah, and it's just one of the tenants, one of the three pillars of Block. So
Yeah.
a really good organization. People such as Joe. Like I have to ask you though, we sent Joe some questions that we wanted him to answer. We know he
Let's
read them.
see.
Did he answer?
No, I haven't gotten an answer back.
Man,
Yo, no, yeah, I'm not sure, but
and
I know one of his favorite things in Block, at least that him and I have talked about, is just definitely, originally when I came to intern with him, he was like, "Hey, come to some of the after hours, come to my North lunch with me." And he just told me that it's been something for him that obviously he's gotten some business out of, but more than anything, he's definitely made great friends and great business relationships out of. Because I'm sure you can agree that's one of the biggest things in business today and just in general is having great relationships with individuals that you know and trust. Because when you can have great referral partners or great individuals to, correspond with, look up to, and just talk about business, that you respect. I think it's something that, I don't know, it's something really amazing. And I know that a lot of great individuals are in Block, and that's something that he's had really long-lasting relationships with a lot of people in Block. And I could tell just from the way he was talking about it that it's something that I wanted to do for myself. And, I wanted to find people in Block that, I had great relationships with too, because I could tell how much it's made a difference for him and his
Yeah,
business.
there's a phrase that they say in block, and I'm probably paraphrasing incorrectly, but what you put into it is what you get out of it, right? If you
Right.
show up, it's an amazing organization. If you go to an occasional after hour and you wonder, hey, where's everybody? Well, that's why you're just not putting in the time to make those relationships.
Right. And I love that, you get out what you put into it. And I think that that goes with almost everything in life too. When you put in a lot of effort, you're going to get, things in return with so many different pieces in life. But especially, like you said, with block and networking, it definitely is the amount of time and hours you put into it. Absolutely.
And Joe has put in a lot of time. I
Absolutely.
knew at several things. That's awesome. And yeah, I think Charlotte is just a better place for having block. And they're just good people. Good people.
Yeah, no, Charlotte's been great. Honestly, the people here are great and the weather's awesome. Again, so I'm originally from West Virginia. I'm from Charleston, grew up
Nice.
there, and then went to Ohio University, which is about an hour and a half from Charleston. And honestly, once decided to come this way, my sister lives in Greenville, South Carolina. I have two older sisters, but my
Mm.
oldest sister lives in Greenville. And once I started to come this way, I realized why she's never left Greenville. The weather's nice, the people are nice, and yeah, it's just great overall. So love Charlotte. I'm
So it's
happy I
an
decided to move.
amazing town. Incredible. Yeah.
Where are you? Are you originally from Charlotte or where are you from?
No, I grew up in Florida. Well,
Okay.
I was born in California, lived there for a few years, and then grew up mostly in Florida, and then ended up going to the University of Florida for college, and then through the broadcasting program and straight into television from that. And
Awesome.
broadcasting kind of takes you all over. You have to keep getting a job in a different market and up leveling your skills, your position, your pay. And so I did that in like four major markets before my last job was here. I was it was it's Spectrum Weather on the Ones. It's the one that they play like all over the cable and in the doctor's offices anywhere that you would go. They have weather
Yeah.
every single like 10 minutes. And so I was a meteorologist for that. So I did news and weather. And then
Awesome.
that's when I that was a part-time freelance job, and that's when I transitioned over to nonprofit in 2010. So
Awesome.
it's been good to us. We moved here in 2009 when we got married, and had three children, and here we are. You know,
My
the two.
sister, yeah, so I have two sisters. My a sister's a year and a half older than me. She also went to Ohio University and she was in broadcast journalism.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so yeah, I was like,
Mhm.
we can kind of relate on that because I always see her crazy hours and everything that she does. She's an anchor for WRIC with the
Yeah,
ABC in Richmond right now,
yeah, Richmond, yeah.
Virginia. But
Yeah, I worked in Charlottesville, so I worked at the next market over for 4 years. I was a news anchor there, and then a weather anchor and reporter before that.
awesome.
Great area also.
Yeah, no, it is. I visited her a bunch of times now and I really like it there too. It's great.
It is, yeah. All right, so we got about a minute left. Tell me one
Okay.
thing that people don't know about the insurance business.
Okay, one thing people don't know about the insurance business. I think it's a great business to get into, number one. I mean, I think that a lot of times when people think about insurance, they, think about the fact that they want their premium to be the lowest and it's really boring. Those are some of the common things I would say maybe majority of people think of. But for me on this side, I think it's a great way to get to know a lot of individuals and really help them when it comes to the coverage. I think price is really important for a lot of people as it is, but coverage is everything. And so I think one interesting thing about it is just, always trying to crack down on the fact that, it's not about the price, it's about the coverage. It's most important. Every individual and business
Right.
have their own unique risks. And it's just, our job as advisors to make sure that we're protecting those risks properly. And that's what we stand for at Pruitt Keener. And, we really just want to go the extra mile of having those relationships. I think that's the biggest thing in this industry and something that we really stand by. And again, kind of going back to something I said earlier about our service staff and also having our, producing side of the business, I think it's awesome to have a great business model where you have individuals that are servicing the books that really know you and know your business, along with your advisor that, you go over coverages and everything with. So
Yep. Well,
long-winded question, but
I
yeah.
could talk to you all day, but we are running out of time. Thank you for all you do. Say hi to Joe. Tell him it went great, and I'll see you. luck.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, Kristi.
All right, take care. This has been another edition of BLOC TV Coffee Talk with your host, Kristi Cruise. See you next time.